as I think to myself, and as I'm working right now, so pardon me if I'm not looking at the camera. As I think to myself, sometimes I like to look back and think about who I admire and who I have admired in the past. And, it's a good thing to think about or to, yeah, just think about because who you admire can have a big play on how you turn out in the future, right? And, for me, it's always, changing, evolving, moving in different ways, right? Like one day I might admire, let's just say Andrew Tate. And then one day I might not. And then one day I might admire my father. One day I might not. And then one day I might admire him again. Or maybe it's an uncle or somebody. And the only reason why I'm talking about this is because, you know, sometimes we have to take a step back and look at who we're influenced by and who we're taking outlooks and ideas from, because that's typically what happens. When you're with somebody that you admire, you kind of like just adopt their way of thinking to a certain extent, right? And so sometimes it's good to just take a step back and say, okay, who am I admiring right now? And why am I admiring them? What is it about them that I think is admirable? And so for me, I've been watching a lot of like finance stuff recently because I've gotten back into it a lot. As a kid, I was really, really into finance, like really into it, like real estate, credit cards, all that kind of stuff, just because I wanted to be rich so bad. And so, later on, 18, 19 or so, 21, by the way, 18, 19 or so, um, I stopped, having an interest in it. Not because it wasn't interesting, but because my priorities were in other wrong places. And around that time, uh, the people I was admiring were people that were good with girls and would, do things like, I'll just give examples. Austin Dunham. I mean, all he talks about is like, getting girls. Um, and not to like discredit it or anything because it's important, but it's like, you know, that was good for an 18, 19-year-old that was fresh out of high school and was worried about those things. And then after that period of time, you start to see how who you watch and who you listen to changes, right? I no longer watch his videos because they don't pertain to me, right? I watch videos on finance, how to get rich, how to get rich. Now I could look at him and go like, okay, what did he do to get rich? What YouTube channels and systems, what programs, what courses, what did he do to get rich? I could look and watch him based off that, but not based off of, you know, him talking about how to get girls and like frame and stuff like that. Like, okay, whatever, that's cool. But that was my admiration then, right? Now my admiration, I'm not gonna say Dave Ramsey because I don't always agree with everything Dave Ramsey says, but we could even go on my YouTube thing and then just see who it is that I watch. Humphrey Yang, he talks about stuff. He gives some statistics. I like his videos on that. I watch people that are in my space in production that are building their businesses. I don't watch production people that are just talking about cameras and stuff anymore. I talk about ones that are talking about building a business and making money. Anton Daniels, he talks about money sometimes. Uh, uh, alux.com, they give like little infographics on like money and stuff. All these different people, these are who I admire because they are speaking to me and they're feeding my brain and my soul with things that I want for myself, right? If you ever read the book Think and Grow Rich, what you think comes to fruition. You have to have a rich mind before you can have a rich pocket, right? You have to have a rich mind before your bank account can be rich. So, and it was when I read that book that, I started to get back to where I came from, which was, thinking about finance. After you overcome those useless, lustful, mind numbing, draining you know, ideas of life, you get back to what matters. So, to bring it full circle, the point that I was trying to make to myself is just be very careful who you admire, because they have way more influence on you than you even realize. If all you're gonna watch is how to get girls, how to do this degenerate thing, how to do that degenerate thing, you're just gonna end up degenerate, and you're going to be complacent and like allow bad things in your life, So if I'm watching a bunch of streamers smoke, drink, bring on these bops and all this other stuff, I'm gonna think that is cool, right? That's the person I'm admiring. I'm gonna think that's cool and that's what I should do. And I'm gonna start a Twitch channel and then start inviting these bops over and everything. No. For what? If you feed yourself, okay, maybe it's Christian content, or maybe it's, anything good, self-reflection stuff, anything good, if that's who you admire, if that's what you want, all that stuff, it's just going to be a net positive on your life. Why sit there and just consume such brain rot when you can be, feeding your soul good stuff? And again, this isn't advice or anything, because I told myself I wasn't going to be an advice guy. I'm just going to tell my experience. But I can't help but to just want to say, like, be mindful and think about who it is that you're listening to and you're consuming. Pause. Anyways, appreciate anybody that watched this. Have a good day.